Happy Draftmas, everyone. Bill Carroll for Zennie62 Media. And we made it. We are here. So I'm going to give you my 10 draft commandments. Shout out to Chris Wallace, aka Biggie Smalls. Baby, baby. We're going to look at these 10. Just like they tell you, you shouldn't go shopping when you're hungry. Don't draft for need. To quote the philosopher poet Brian Billick, need is a terrible evaluator of talent. There are other ways to fill needs. Draft the best players available as often as possible. And number 9, don't scout helmets. Don't scout reputations. Don't scout legacies. Scout players. What can they do? What can't they do? Get information about what they are as players and move on. Number 8. Make mistakes, but learn from them. Don't keep making the same mistakes. If you draft poorly a certain position or a certain part in the draft, figure out why. Try to fix it, but keep moving. 7, but don't draft scared. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. As long as you can fix those mistakes and learn from those mistakes eventually become your friends. Number 6, more is better. And by that I mean more information, more data, more games watched, more that you hear from coaching, more that you hear from teammates, from opponents. The more you know, the less likely you are to make a very expensive mistake. Number 5, one of my favorites. Everything matters. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Does arm length matter? Yes. Does hand size matter? Yes. Vertical leap? Yes. 40 time? Yes. Everything matters, but you have to figure out what matters and why. And stack those things, right? Figure out what you want to prioritize. Number 4. Don't draft scared, though, right? As we said before, and one of the best ways to make sure that you aren't drafting scared, that you won't be scared to draft a certain player or things like that, in addition to having more information, digging deeply into that player, also is understanding if they fit you, your team, your scheme. They might be a great player, but they might not be great for you, right? There are people out there who are wonderful people, but they aren't the right person for you. Know your team. To thine own self be true. Shout out to the late William Shakespeare, whose birthday anniversary was about 4 days ago. Number 3. Don't try to force it. If it doesn't fit, don't force it, right? Be as water, my friends. Shout out to Bruce Lee. Or to quote Paul Atreides from Dune, bend like a reed in the wind. You should have a plan. But when things change, your plan has to change. Don't try to find players that aren't there, right? That's, once again, how you end up trying to force things and sometimes reaching. Number 2. You hear the words, don't get high on your own supply. Well, I'm going to tell you what your supply is in this case. That's draft value. It is very easy to get into certain situations where you sometimes sort of throw a pick away. There's no throwaway picks. We just watched the career of Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, the 199th selection. We just saw what Brock Purdy did, 255th selection. You don't know which player in what round might be the greatest player in that draft, and maybe the greatest player for some time, maybe for years to come. And my number 1, 10 draft commandments. And all of these are important, and I love all of these, and I want you to try to remember all of these. But the one that I want to stick with you is every draft is different. There's no carryover, right? So you have to see it as its own distinct event. You have to be willing, as I said, to be flexible. You have to be willing to take risks, but make those smart risks by gathering information. Know what you do well. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Know the strengths and weaknesses of players. Don't scout helmets. Be willing to be wrong and figure out why you were wrong, but having more information, having watched more games, having watched more players, having gathered more data gives you the best chance to be right. Those are my 10 draft commandments. Thank you very much. From Zennie62 Media, Bill Carroll. I want to thank particularly Kudo Snacks, who will be powering our coverage and, of course, our celebration of the 2023 NFL Draft. Bill Carroll, once again, for Zennie62 Media. See you soon.